All right, Kevin, back with you for another episode of the $1 Million Relationships Podcast. And today I'm here with Kyle. Kyle, welcome to the show, man. So awesome to have you.
Thank you so kindly for having me on. And thank you so much to Jason Hornung for introducing me to you and connecting us.
Absolutely. You know, and I got to tell you, I want to give a shout out to Jason too, because, you know, this show is all about relationships. And that is just another testament to the power of relationships that you and I met because of our mutual friend, Jason. And when we had our initial conversation a while back, it was like, you know, Kyle, you and I, we just kind of connected like we'd known each other for years because we just like this middle guy who connected us, Jason. We both have just admiration and respect for him. And we're like, anybody that Jason would connect me to is somebody I want to get to know. And that was just, that is the power of relationships right there.
I mean, absolutely, right? Like, you know, Jason talks about scaling ads. I talk about scaling relationships.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, you know, I have long believed that as entrepreneurs, relationships are our most valuable asset. Everything else stems from that. And so, well, I am really excited to have this conversation with you today, Kyle. And what I'd like to do is just kind of start off by turning it over to you so you can share a little bit about what you do, who you serve, what inspires you most about the work you do and the impact you're making in the world. And we'll just start there and set a little bit of context for this conversation.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Kevin. And thank you for having me on the podcast. And to all the listeners, thank you for your time for listening. So I was born in Vancouver, British Columbia in Canada, and I moved to Florida in the Florida Keys when I was 6. And my dad owned restaurants, Miami Subs. And so I lived in Florida for about 10 years. And then I moved back to Vancouver when I was 16. My parents got divorced, moved into a 1-bedroom apartment with my brother, sister, and my mom, walked to school, you know, did all that. It was challenging. Fast forward, I graduated, got into construction, was in construction for 5 years, rose to the top, decided to go to school for accounting. Realized I didn't want to be an accountant. I went to school to become an entrepreneur, dropped out, got into door-to-door sales, started selling, right? So I started doing that and servicing clients and in closing and becoming a closer. And so I did that. I worked at a tech company and music startup, and I learned how to manage big databases and manage lots of data and users and customer service and user experience. Then I was able to work with Jason and his agency for about over a year and learned so much from him, of course. And, you know, went off and acquired part of an agency. And here I am today as a owner and chief sales officer, chief financial officer, wearing multiple hats in my agency, First Look Marketing. And so who we serve now is, you know, real estate agents, mortgage brokers, and small business owners for, you know, social media, paid ads, email marketing, consulting, and those areas. And I have a team of 23 people. And going back, one of the things I'm really passionate about is contributing to the community. So, you know, I thought, Kevin, in life, I had to be rich or wealthy to make a difference and an impact to people. And what I really discovered in like 2015 was I could go and make that difference. And so instead of having a birthday party, I had a fundraiser and I raised money for youth who didn't have access to resources for Christmas. We were able to donate money, give kids gifts, food for some families that didn't have any food. And that brought tears to me. We did that for 3 years and we incorporated as a nonprofit, Millennial Charity Fundraising. And then we did a golf tournament. We raised about $37,000 and we were able to create scholarships in the communities of Surrey and Delta where I live. And I did this with my high school buddies. And so from doing that, now there's scholarships that are called the the Good Samaritan Scholarship. So incentivizing kids to contribute and get involved with their community. Because when I was in high school, I didn't go to half my classes in grade 12. I almost failed. I didn't actually know I could get into university or do anything. And so I felt all alone. And there was elements of like suicide and stuff in there, right? Okay. So getting into construction, realizing, oh, I have all this money, I don't know what to do with it. It's easy to make money, it's hard to multiply it, and it's really tough to keep it and maintain it. So I had one part down, but all the rest of it was failing. And so I was empty inside. And so I gave that up to seek knowledge and to be able to go and make a difference. So that's a little bit about me and my background. And I'm really passionate of helping entrepreneurs get life, liberty, and freedom from their businesses.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And you know, that has been my experience as well, is it's easy to create revenue, it's easy to make money, but the secret is, like you said, expanding it and well, first of all, keeping it, and then being able to expand it and grow it from there. And that's a whole different skill set and mindset from making it, you know.
Yeah, and now because I'm growing and I have staff members and I'm paying people salaries and such, I need to grow to be able to take care of them.
Yeah.
So it's like I got this cheese in front of me and a cat behind me. You know, there's a study of a rat. They tie its tail to a spring. They put cheese in front of it. It goes a certain degree. The cat makes it like 10x, right? So I got push and pull happening here.
That's right.
So, and I feel like I got to box myself into these situations because I perform best under pressure.
Yeah.
And I create that pressure to hold myself accountable to get up, because it's when you have stuff in the bank, you know, it's like, do I need to get up? And so creating that for myself and you know, it's like with business owners, I ask them, why are you in business? To make money. But what do you want to do with that? I don't know. Okay, let's sort that out. What's important to you? Is it your family? Is this a legacy business? Are you looking to exit? Do you want to build this business to have friends and have fun and do work and collaborate and have retreats and things like that? What is it, a lifestyle business? Is it a legacy business? What is it?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, that is so big right there. And I find myself asking entrepreneurs that question all the time. You know, I'm like, what do you want? You know, what do you want from your business, from your life? You know, and even, you know, it's amazing how many entrepreneurs have never really given that question a lot of thought of, like, what do I want? And it is such a powerful question to ask ourselves on an ongoing basis, because it changes with time. It changes. And what's important to us changes. And so
what's the intention behind what you're creating and what are you creating? You know, it's so great we're bringing this up. 2 weeks ago, I was in an inversion table, chiropractic inversion table. They strapped and my roommate bought it and it was at my house. So I was upside down in this thing and it broke and I got dropped on my head.
Oh, shoot.
And I almost broke my neck and died.
Wow.
I woke up in a pile, looked up, but couldn't move.
Wow.
Sitting on the couch in immense pain, like someone's taking a hot knife and rubbing it up and down my spine. And in that moment, Kevin, I said, oh, pain. And I started thinking, where's the pain for my business partner? Where's the pain for my wife? Where's the pain for my employees? Where's the pain for my siblings? Where's the pain for my parents? Where is the pain? Because where there's pain, there's an opportunity to create. Yeah. It's like, what do you want to do with that? And so I got so clear, you know, it slowed me down, right? Kind of like Jason, I just only have one mode. It's like 100%. And so I'm working on slowing myself down, and then I just got dropped on my freaking head, scrambled eggs, lost my phone on Friday. So I didn't have communication for 2 days. So in all this pain, I'm thinking to myself, where's the pain? And it's kind of like you said, like, so when I talk to somebody, it's like, where's your pain? Let's free up that pain. Why? What are you doing? What are you seeking? What are you going for? And I find that, you know, for me, I'm creating legacy. I'm creating an opportunity for people to play together and win together. And I look for win-win opportunities and win-win solutions. And that's sometimes I have to say no to things that I know aren't the best for people. And there's a cost to that. Yep. But there's also a benefit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Boy, this conversation got pretty deep here. We're getting into some good stuff, and it's only going to get better. Okay, so now that we've got a little bit of context set here, I'm going to shift gears. I'm going to reiterate the question for the benefit of the listeners. And then what I love about this is, like, before you and I hit the record button, and you and I had spoke earlier, and you were like, man, Kev, I got my list of people that I want to honor right here with me. And I think that is so awesome that, well, first of all, let me reiterate the question here. So have you ever been introduced to a person or persons who completely changed the course of your life or your business, so much so that much of what you have today would not be possible if not for this person or persons? And Kyle, I am just really excited to hear your story, your experience around this topic of relationships.
Yeah, brilliant. So the answer is yes. I have a list of people.
Yeah.
The first set of people to honor are my parents.
Okay. Okay.
Without them, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
And so I honor them and thank them for providing me with the body, the mind, and the upbringing to have what I have today and to get to where I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, there was this one individual when I lived in Florida that I was introduced to, who he was an Army general. He was my mom's boyfriend for a while. His name is Bill.
Okay.
And he really made an impact on my life. And he really came in and he really taught me discernment.
Okay.
And he poured into myself and my younger brother like he was a father. And for that, I'm extremely grateful. And to this day, 15 years later, still have contact.
Okay. Wow. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. So that was extraordinary. Absolutely. Okay. And so that takes me to like 14, 15.
And so you said Bill was a general. He was your mom's boyfriend at the time.
Yeah, because my parents had got divorced.
Okay.
And then my dad had left to Greece and then he wasn't around anymore. Yep. And so then my mom had this boyfriend, Bill, was a great man, and they almost got married. And then when they didn't get married and all that didn't happen, the US said, you got 30 days to get all your kids and go back to Canada.
Wow.
So we had to pack up and skedaddle.
Yep.
And he was instrumental in helping us. If he wasn't there, I don't know if we would have got to Canada.
Okay. Okay.
Let's put it that way. I don't know what would have happened. He was a guardian angel and has continued to do that, and even helped my brother go to university years later.
Very cool. So now, as far as kids, was it just you and your brother then, or
I have a sister as well?
You have a sister as well. So those three kids, you have two other siblings besides yourself. Okay.
Correct.
Okay. And so Bill just kind of stepped in and just really just really became a father figure for you and your brother and your sister and stuff, and was just a solid force in your life growing up and stuff.
He demonstrated what accountability meant as a choice, not as a responsibility. Like, you have a kid, you're responsible for the kid, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
In life, go along and you're like, I'll take that on, I'll be accountable to it. Inherently, by virtue of having a kid, you're inherently responsible, but being accountable is different. And so this man showed up over and over and over in this role as an accountable man years after my mom said terrible stuff to him and all the rest of it. Mm-hmm. So he demonstrated to me what it meant to be your word.
Yeah.
Even after maybe perhaps you didn't need to be.
Okay. 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 Wow. That's really something. That's really something. Wow. Okay. And so there's more people that you want to.
Oh, there's more people. Oh, there's more people. Yeah, like, so we moved to North Vancouver from Florida, and I was going to school. And then at one point, there was one summer where my mom, my dad had come back to Canada.
Okay.
I didn't really want to talk to him. I hadn't talked to him. He kind of left. So they decided they're going to move in together to save money. Okay. So they go from North Vancouver to Delta, which is a couple bridges over. And so in Delta, we got a townhouse where my mom, her brother, and sister had a bedroom, and my dad and I shared a garage.
Oh,
So you
wow.
can imagine the cold winter. So when I woke up, there was a car in my room and my dad and all that stuff. So before we moved to Delta, it was like summertime, right? And I didn't want to go. So there's this family that took me in, the Gilberts, Susan Gilbert, Richard Gilbert, and Susan is from Trinidad and Tobago, and Richard is similarly have a similar background. And so I was able to live with them, and they took me on like a son. Like, I'm gonna get emotional now because they provided more love and care than what I experienced at home. And I'll never forget Susan. She treated me like a son. Like she treated me no different than her kids. And Reese, who's my good friend, they took me in, they gave me a room, they took care of me, they never asked for anything. And they just took care of me. And, I remember like going up on the roof and painting the house and doing all the things. And they really took care of me for months, right? And they demonstrated what it looks like to give unconditional love because you can, and to support because you can, because you're able to. And so I've brought that into my life, and I think that's part of why I give back, right?
Mhm.
Fast forward to a year ago, I was able to invite them to my son's baptism,
Wow.
and they were there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Richard, he goes, I remember you were the only one I could trust up there to get the work done and actually do it right. you always did it right. You always took instruction. You're always listening, and I'm so proud of you of how far you've come and all that you've done. And for me, that is like the epitome of fulfillment to me.
Mhm.
To be able to come back and honor the folks and the people that supported me in moments where I needed it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's almost like a guardian angel, an angel sent from God, right? Because living with them, I learned about everything that they were like in their family and their culture, and I was able to be immersed in that, right? And so eternally grateful, and I could never make it up. And it was extraordinary to be able to have them at the baptism and honor them. And I've been grateful to have a lot of friends where their parents will take me on and support me and take care of me and really treat me well. And yeah, it's amazing to be to have that experience and to be taken care of like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And what you just shared, I can see that there is this, mutual respect between you and Richard and Susan, because I mean, look at the way that Richard, spoke about you and the things that he saw and that he admired in you. And you're right. I mean, I don't talk about this much, but as you were sharing, there is a friend of my daughter's. My daughter is 14, and she has this good friend of hers. And last summer, her friend's father was killed, and so this girl, she's 14 years old, has been going through some challenging times, and her mom works nights, and so she sleeps days, and so to just help out, this girl has been living under our roof, has been staying at our house, and it's just easier that way right now. And I mean, she's got a good relationship with her mom and everything, but with just the working situation, she was just not thriving. She wasn't getting up and going to school and all of that, and just not, just kind of just cooped up in a home all by herself.
Yeah.
And it's like, but here it's been really cool to watch her just open up. And I can still remember one of the early conversations that we had, which I knew her dad had got killed and stuff. And I just started talking with her about my own father and losing my own dad when my own dad passed away when I was just 16. And right away she was like, I lost my dad too. And I'm like, yeah, I heard about that. And so right away we had this connection because of that. And it's just been cool, from my perspective. I really enjoy having her here.
Yeah.
She, and to watch her just coming out and just opening up and being able to talk and just have a place where she's comfortable and where she's now not so just bottled up, feeling like she's all alone.
Exactly.
And it just feels amazing.
Yeah.
So
Well, God bless you, and thank you so much for doing that. And I acknowledge you for being that person in her life. And it takes one person to step up like that to make a difference,
yeah,
create a new future, have somebody held for a minute. And we never know what people are dealing with, right? So it's like compassion is a grace we can provide.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, and I can, it's really, God puts people into our lives to
Oh,
just
absolutely.
like this conversation. I would have never expected. I mean, how can you know what somebody's going to talk
You know
about?
what I call it? My mentor is joke. He calls it HS lead generation, Holy Spirit lead generation.
There you go. There you go. That works for me, man.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, from there, somebody who was very instrumental that I'd like to honor is my uncle Stacy.
Okay.
When we moved from Florida to Canada, my uncle stepped up and helped my mom a lot. And in the past, they didn't get along so great. And so he didn't have to do anything, and he stepped up and he supported, and he continued to do that and does so to this day. And
Wow.
so this man, all he does is contribute to others, to his mom, to my mom, his sister, to the rest of his family, contributes. He lives for others. I can see that. And so I honor him and say thank you for all the sacrifice and everything that he did. And he didn't need to do it. And he demonstrated what it looks like to keep serving and doing what's right in the face of not being acknowledged or honored. Because there was some nasty things my mom said and did, and he still kept showing up.
Wow.
And so I credit him
Yeah.
for my ability to be able to just keep eating shit and moving towards the outcome that's best for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Pretty much, right? So I honor him for that and for everything he does and continues to do. And he taught me how to not be a bitch, basically, because he's an outdoor man. And, you got to know how to fight, know how to shoot, know how to kill, know how to cook for yourself, take care of yourself. Don't rely on anybody. If you have to rely on someone, you've missed the mark on life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not to say you shouldn't rely on others, but be self-sustaining and take care of yourself, take care of your family, make sure that you know how to feed your family. And
Yeah.
so being a provider, right? I think of him as a provider.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And, recently I was able to help contribute to my grandma and help with a fridge and things like that. And so now as I'm older, I'm looking back, remembering, thinking about that. And now I'm in a position where I can contribute more and do more. And look for ways of how I can do that. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really powerful. That's really powerful. And that's, being that provider, for a guy who is a husband and a father, being able to provide for our family in a way that makes us feel good about that role is something that's really important. That's really important.
Men need that in their life. Otherwise,
Absolutely.
suicide, depression, and all the rest of it. If I don't have someone to provide for, what am I doing?
That's right. That's right. And you mentioned earlier, not just not just your family, but you have people on your team, you know.
Yeah, like
It's this whole cat and cheese thing, because we love these people, that we do want to be able to provide for them. That is very important for us, and it motivates and inspires us to do more because we want to provide well for them, you know.
yeah, like well said. You know, when I have town halls and I talk to my team, I say, you know, who I am for you is the one accountable to ensure that your family and you are fed.
Yeah.
To ensure that there's revenue and there's cash and there's flow of work to be able to sustain our lives and our families. Who you are for me is the backbone of how we're able to feed all of our families. Without you, we could not actually consistently execute and do all of that. And so I share with them, you know, relatedness, who you are for me, who I am for you.
Yeah.
Without that background of relatedness, what is there? There's just emptiness. So how do we create that background? You know, I know that my writer, she's a new mom. She loves working with Verslick, and she's able to spend the time to do what she needs to do to take care of her baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hearing that, you know, I know her name, and I'm thinking about her, and I'm thinking about all my other staff members and what their goals are and what's important to them and their kids and,
That's right.
you know, families. And, oh, one of my staff members, his wife's looking for work. Can we help them? Do we know somebody? So that holds me accountable. That gets me up in the morning. It's like when I look at my HR department and the payroll, it's like having a sniff of salts. You know what I mean? It's like, whoa,
Time
it's
to go.
real. These are people with real lives. Like, I'm taking care of them, you know?
Yeah. It gives us a real sense of purpose, Kyle. It gives us a real sense of purpose, you know, and yeah.
So I'll move on to more people, as there's a lot to honor here. So
Okay.
I know another individual who was instrumental in my development in life is my Uncle Keith.
Okay.
So that's my mom's sister's husband. And, you know, I always watched him when I was young, growing up, getting into business, doing his thing, hustling, and I extremely respected that. And, you know, I watched him go through flows in his life with his relationship and work to where he became the president of the Métis Foundation International Trade Aboriginal Canada. And there was a time when I was working out of town in construction up north in Prince Rupert, building a railroad. And he had some business up there with the indigenous bands. And so he met with me. And, you know, he said to me, I didn't think you were going to make it like this. I'm so proud of you. The life and the upbringing you had, you should be fucked. Excuse my French, but that's literally what he said. Like, it's wild that you got here. And so he really acknowledged me. I had never been acknowledged by that. And I think, you know, in my younger years, I'm always looking for acknowledgement and recognition.
Sure.
There's an element of self-worth in there, right? Like,
yeah.
There's this unanswerable question that's pervasive in my life is like, I'm not worthy and do you love me? So all my communication that exists. So I'm aware of that now and I'm working on it. And that was very fulfilling and gave me the grounding to know I'm on the right path.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I am extremely grateful for that. And to this day, I see how he operates and it's inspiring.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. Wow. This is really something. Who else do you want to talk about and honor, Kyle?
Yeah. So when I was in construction up in my time in Prince Rupert, I had a mentor, Mark, and he took me under his wing like a brother, like a little brother. To this day, we still talk. I have so much respect for him. He taught me how to be tough.
Okay. Okay.
He taught me how to figure things out, not to take no for an answer, how to push for what's right, and how to manage, how to be a man and manage men and understand men. And he himself and Cam, we worked at this company, and they both mentored me and treated me. You know, Cam's treated me like a son. Mark treated me like a brother. They took such great care of me. I remember this one time I was working in Vancouver and I was offered to go up north. And I was like, what am I going to do? Mark's like, don't worry, pack your bags, fly up here. Just come live with me for free. Just come here. I'll take care of you. Come here, get here. And since then, like from there, we did multiple projects and actually worked at different companies together.
Wow.
And so he had me discover that I was more than just a laborer.
Uh-huh.
He taught me how to survey. He taught me how to be a foreman. He taught me how to manage. He taught me how to lay pipe. He taught me how to build culverts. He taught me how to do topographies. He taught me how to do as-built. He taught me basically how to be a field engineer without any education and training, just field experience.
Wow.
Such that I could support myself, support my family, and build. And so now, even to this day, we have a relationship and we talk. And all these people I still have relationships with, right? So Mark and Cam were instrumental to supporting me, and I so honor the time and the energy they put into me, and they continue to put into me in making my life great and supporting me and my goals and dreams and what I aspire to do.
Yeah. Well, I hear you share that, and I think of my brother, who has been an engineer for years. And my first, I got myself a job on a fishing boat going to Alaska. First time ever. It was in 1988. I went there, and I stayed up there for 10 months. Came home with over $100,000 after that 10 months. And my brother was like, "Can you get me a job up there?" And I was like, "Sure." And so I did. I got him a job on the boat, and he ended up staying in that. And like he was such like he loves working on stuff. And so on his time off, he'd go down in the engine room and start working with the engineer, helping the engineer off when he could have been sleeping, but he worked and helped out the engineer. And it just moved himself into engineering, where the engineer was like, "Man, you're really great at this, and I want you down here helping me all the time." And so, and he moved into engineering. He has been engineering ever since. He absolutely loves it. He has worked in places around the world, on cruise ships, and spent time in Grand Cayman. He spent 7 years in Grand.
Oh, cool.
And he was in charge. He worked for the Grand Cayman Power Company, and they had this power line running across the bay underwater, and he was in charge of maintaining that power line, which he got into diving and all that for that.
Cool.
Dive certified. And he's just lived the life of his choosing all these years, and been an engineer in all these really cool locations and stuff, And I think of, what you just shared about Mark and Pam and how they impacted you and just gave you so much confidence in your own self and your own abilities by them just kind of taking you under their wings and teaching you, because obviously you applied yourself as well. And they saw the fruits of their effort coming back, because they're like, "Wow, look at Kyle, look at what he does what we show him." So,
that's the thing, right? And what I'm really hearing is you gave your brother the opportunity to find the life of his dreams, and he went off and did that. And it's like I love to pour into people when there's progress.
Yeah.
And if there's progress and there's development, it just is like, that's what motivates me. I love that, right? So I think that them seeing this like raw material of a man that they could sculpt into from a boy into a man that is able to serve and protect and do all the rest and provide. I mean, for me, that's inspiring, and I like doing that with young guys. I have a couple people that I'm working with ongoingly in that regard too. And so thank you to both of them. Now, I want to move into a little bit of a more emotional group of folks, and this would be my so when I was in high school, in that townhouse and living in the garage, I had met a friend in Delta, and his name was Jordan. And Jordan is my best friend, my best man. I don't know if I'd be here without him today. Let's say that. Okay. And I remember times I was at home and he'd come to my house and get me out of bed, get me to go to school, all these different things, right? And he just loved and supported me. And so his parents were separated, Larry and Kuldeep had a husband, Ken. And Larry, Kuldeep, and Ken were like my second family. And, Larry taught me how to be wise and smart. Never pay full pop for a thing, ever. Always discount. Everything's always negotiable. Never take bullshit from anybody. Better drink Coca-Cola with your rum, no Pepsis. It's another thing. But Larry taught me, he took me in, he brought me to his house. I go to his house, I have drinks and beers with him just independently. I have his phone number. I love him to pieces. I remember one time he's yelling at me, parking in his fucking spot. And it's like, I never got that from my parents. And when you get that strictness, it's like, makes you stand up straight. So Larry caused me to stand up straight. And Kuldeep and Ken, like, take me on vacations, have me over. And there's times where I wouldn't have food in my house and they would just take care of me. I was one of those kids that went to the counselor's office and was like, hey, do you have some noodles? Right? So Kuldeep, Ken, and Larry, and they still are my second family. And, Kuldeep taught me compassion and what a mother role model looks like.
Okay.
And I've never ever heard her say a bad thing about anybody.
Wow.
And that really taught me about gossip. Don't gossip. So I have this model where I only talk to one person about the things we talk about. It doesn't get repeated elsewhere. And I learned that from her. Just observing. And Ken, he's a engineer, business major, extraordinary man, so intelligent and so discerning. And I learned how to have really tough, challenging things happen and not sweat it.
Okay.
And be in a mode that it's like, it's all dealable, workable, and can be figure outable.
Yeah.
And so I honor him for causing that in me, and really, even to this date, Jordan, Ken, and Kuldeep were a member of the same golf club together. So I go golfing with them now.
Okay.
So it's like 12 years later. Here's Kyle and Jordan. They have a family, they have kids, they got their business. And here they are from all that. And so I am eternally grateful for that whole family, and even all their aunts, Parween and Tash and their whole family. I know everyone, and they've taken me on like a son. And Jordan is Sikh, and he's my son's godfather, and his wife is my son's godmother.
Wow.
And so we're bound by the Lord in that regard. And Christian, Sikh, whatever, we're bound by the Lord, the Creator, right?
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Boy, I'm going to tell you, Kyle, I have interviewed almost 200 people for this podcast over almost a 2-year period. And you have honored more people than any other guest that I have ever interviewed. And I just think this is absolutely amazing that you have all these people that you have had at different times in your life that have had such a profound impact on you, on your life, and that has now, I can guarantee, this has moved forward, and you have been the beneficiary of all these relationships, but now so many other people, because of the work that you do and the businesses that you run, that have now benefited too. You have also impacted so many others as a result of these experiences that you've had. And I just
Yeah.
think this is absolutely amazing. And I don't know, is there more people that you want to honor still, or is
There's too many. I came to this call
we
going,
could probably
I
go
want
on for hours, Kyle.
no, I can. Look, I can. I can. I only exist as a network of conversations out there in the world.
Yeah, yeah.
And these people are the conversations that hold who is Kyle. I'll just go through the other people. I have this gentleman, John Sai, who's I really look up to him, and I get the opportunity to be with him every week. And he coached me in a personal development program called Landmark in the team management leadership program for 6 months. And he taught me and is still teaching me not to take myself so seriously, be compassionate and caring and loving, and that we can make mistakes and overcome it, and we can always recreate ourselves. So I honor John for being with me, giving me his time, providing me, pouring into me. The things he has in life, I strive for. And so I am so grateful and honored to be able to spend time with him. I have another individual, Sebastian. He's my current roommate, made a massive difference in my life. Came in a time where I was, believe it or not, I used to have really long hair and meditate for 2 to 3 hours a day.
Okay.
And do some wild yoga. And he helped me go through all that and expand out of that and become enlightened spiritually and learned how to take care of people with plants and herbs.
Mm-hmm.
And so I honor him for that. And, of course, to today, Jason, I could say in my business world and in my business career, he has made the biggest impact.
Okay.
Because he gave me permission to be straight with people. He's got this tone that's like edge and love at the same time. It's so unique. And I've adopted that. And I was able to be with him for a year, and we still do work together to now. He sends me business. And so Jason, instrumental. And I don't have enough time to acknowledge everyone. So Jason, he knows I love him. And, when I talk to him, it's like a house on fire. So it's amazing. And then I have my current mentor, Peter Keys,
Okay.
who, if it wasn't for him, I would be divorced. I wouldn't have a kid, and I don't know where I'd be. He saved my relationship. He encouraged me to have a kid, and I did it. He said, have a son, have a baby. I said, all right. That's just crazy faith, right? And so in the last couple of years, he's been mentoring me and transformed my whole life. And now helping me expand my business and automate everything and delegate and expand so that I can get into community and contribute back to the community. And it's all about taking care of stability such that I can contribute to the community, contribute to the province, contribute to the country, contribute to the continent, contribute to the world. And what I got out of all these relationships is I'm playing a game at a worldwide level.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's up to me to go and make a difference. And I can't, the only thing I can transform is here and start from here out.
Yep. Yep.
And so as a network of conversations, how can I empower cause and enroll others to have a similar mindset of, ABH, always be helping, always be closing, always be helping. How can we help? It's just like you, Kevin. And, Kevin, I honor you because I don't know what's going to come from this. And you're somebody who's been instrumental in pulling this out of me and getting me present to this. And it's been a whole reset. So I also honor you and for what relationship we create and the things that we do from here, because I'm blessed. Yeah. I'm very blessed to have relationships and the people in my life. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, you are so welcome. And you and I are both blessed, Kyle. And, and I know I told you this when we spoke before, but I think this is so fitting because I was talking about my brother. My brother's name is also Kyle. And, I think this is so awesome that, like I said, you are the first guest that I've had on this podcast that honored so many people. And I just think like what you just said, it was kind of a reset for you, that you were just kind of like, wow, look at all of these people in my life. How blessed am I? And what's also really just coming up for me right now is you mentioned all the people that you mentioned, but yet I know there's also so many more, and like I said at the beginning of this is, I have long believed that as entrepreneurs, relationships are our most valuable asset. And my gosh, if all this conversation right here isn't like so much proof of that right here, And
Absolutely. Living in the world right here, right now.
yeah, yeah. And for anybody listening to this, Kyle, thinking to themselves, man, Kev, I sure do love Kyle. I totally love the way he shows up. How can they find out more about what you guys are doing and the impact you guys are making in this world?
Yeah, so anybody can reach me at kyle@versalook.com. You
Okay.
can find me at LinkedIn, Kyle Kiriakidis. Anybody who wants to connect and ask questions, talk to me about this, I'm open to it.
Okay.
And, if anybody, like what I do in my business is we provide teams as a service. So we help empower you with a team. So folks who want to have help and create teams and teamwork in their life, whether business or not business, I encourage them to talk to me. And we have some really exciting things coming up in the next couple of months, like workshops and things like that I'd love to share with you and share with your audience, so people can get some of this and feel some of this for themselves. And email, go to my website, versalook.com, talk to me on Facebook. I'm open to connect.
There you go. There you go. Nice and easy. And well, Kyle, I am so appreciative of you for taking the time to have this conversation today. And we have definitely delivered, because what my goal, like I said, has always been is I want for the listeners, I just want to have them, as they're listening in these conversations, just to be inspired to place an intentional focus on creating more real, meaningful, rewarding, and profitable relationships in their own life. And with your help today, Kyle, we definitely we delivered in that on spades. And so thank you for your role in that. Really appreciate it. Any last thing you feel compelled to share before we call it a wrap?
Yeah, I was very compelled, and thank you for that. And I'm so grateful and appreciative. And one thing I'll say is this all only ever happened to me because I allowed help. Yeah. Yes. So, I'm a person, my love language is acts of service. So if I provide acts of service to somebody and they're not willing to accept it, it doesn't work. That's right. So people want to help, and that's their love language. And especially men, I would encourage men to accept help. It doesn't mean anything about you. Period. So I'll leave you with that. Allow others to contribute. And you allowing others to contribute is you contributing. Consider that's you contributing to them. That's right. That's right. And without that, nothing happens. That's right. That's right. Yeah. I know for us, we love giving. As a general rule, entrepreneurs are very giving and generous. We love helping others. But when we allow others to give to us and we allow, just that to come in, we let other people experience the gift of giving as well and stuff. So that's huge. That's huge. And well, Kyle, thanks again. Really appreciate you having this conversation. And I am so excited to share this with so many other entrepreneurs, founders, and CEOs. Thanks so much. Thank you. Thank you.